Joining us is Mohammed Sadiq, who's the founder and senior technical officer at Active Needle Technology. Mohammed is a chartered mechanical engineer with a PhD in biomedical engineering and over a decade of experience in the medical device sector. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you.
How are you
Nice to be
today?
here. I'm very well, thank you.
Good stuff. It would be great if you can just start us off by letting our listeners know what it is that you guys do at Active Needle Technology.
So we are essentially an ultrasonic needle company. So what we have is an innovative ultrasonic platform technology that induces microscopic vibrations in needles. And these tiny but highly rapid vibrations convey a number of important properties to needles, which make these needles do wonderful things in a number of applications. So the three applications we are focusing on, one of them is the cancer biopsy application.
Okay.
So in cancer biopsy applications, where clinicians often struggle to accurately place the needle deep inside the body to collect a tissue sample.
Yeah.
And the reason why they struggle is because when they are going deep, the needles tend to deflect off target and they're difficult to see as well. So what our technology does is by inducing the microscopic vibrations, it makes the needle more visible on ultrasound imaging. And it also helps reducing the deflection of the needle as well as the needle is making its way towards the target, thereby allowing clinicians to accurately place the needle at first attempt. The benefit is that if you cannot see the needle tip very well, you will end up in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You will most likely get a wrong sample. Sample goes to pathology. Pathology takes about a couple of weeks to get back, and they will say, you haven't found anything. So you have to call the patient again for a repeat biopsy. In the worst case scenario, you might end up damaging surrounding tissues, which can cause even paralysis or even death in the worst case scenario. So that's application number one.
Yeah.
Then the same vibration helps reducing the penetration force associated with needle puncture. So for this particular property, we have been exploring tattooing. I don't know if you have tattoos yourself, but you would probably know tattooing can be quite painful, depending on how large it is and where you're getting it. There is a medical angle to it as well. People with burn scars, for example, they tend to get tattoos done to cover up the scars.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, it's a very small market compared to the large consumer market, but the point is that these scar tissues are more sensitive to pain. So what our technology does is it reduces not only the penetration force, but it also reduces the pain and the trauma associated with needle puncture, making the whole tattoo experience, I won't say pain-free, but with less pain. It's more comfortable for the people getting tattoos. And the third one is drug delivery. Again, this is the point actually about the platform technology, the same vibration, ultrasonic vibrations, help us get the right perfusion that's needed for intratumoral injections for cancer treatment. So this is something we are exploring at the moment. So we are in the R&D phase. The tattooing side, we have developed a product. In fact, we have licensed it to a leading tattoo company based in Europe. And the biopsy product, we have again developed a product and it's been regulatory approved. So we are hoping to get to the market early next year.
Very good. So there's quite a number of applications then from what you're doing, and it's quite a specific and quite a sort of niche market. I'm interested. How did you get into it? How did you start the company?
Long time ago actually, but it's actually based on the PhD that I did back in 2013 at University of Dundee. At that time, the focus was to improve the visibility of needles and reduction of needle bending in regional anesthesia applications. So in anesthesia, clinicians do the same thing. They put a needle deep into the body, but they inject rather than take samples. And so during my PhD, I developed a proof of concept device, which we patented at the university. And when I started speaking to people, clinicians, there was a significant interest there. And I was then encouraged by people to participate in business competitions, and I got quite lucky with that as well. I was able to win a couple of prizes as well, and it just gave me a bit more support and reassurance actually that what I was doing actually had a value to it.
Yeah.
And that kind of formed the basis of setting up Active Needle.
That's a cool story. So you go from the piece of work in the PhD and then bringing it to life and then identifying other opportunities for it as well, which all by
Exactly.
the sound of it adds sort of, real value to the end user and the people at the end
Absolutely.
of or outside of around the needle, because I guess the needle's kind of going in as well. So if you had sort of an opportunity to reflect, how long have you been running the company for now?
So this is our eighth year actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had an opportunity to reflect over those last 8 years, what would you say as a business, sort of as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, what would you say your biggest challenges have been?
So I mean biggest challenge, I mean, like any startup, funding is always a challenge.
Yeah.
So we're not in the market yet. So we have been pretty much um running on the basis of investment funding and grant funding. Um, but yeah, I mean, COVID didn't help us because it was a time when we had to get regulatory approval process done and get to the market. That delayed our to the market process
Yeah.
a little bit. So yeah, I mean, COVID did play a role, and I guess the main challenge has been raising funds, really large amount of funds, rather just to roll it out.
Yeah, yeah. On that fundraising piece, there's a number of things that you kind of need to have in place before you go to raise the funds. And similar to a business that wants to raise funds for to grow their operations to things, what sort of advice would you give people out there in how to best prepare and present yourself to win funding?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of support out there. I think there's grant funding out there. It's getting very competitive now, but that support is there,
Yeah,
which is obviously non-dilutive funding. But then when it comes to investors, one of the key things you have to do is you have to just to have visibility. You have to do networking, a lot of networking, attend as many events as possible, as many pitch events as possible, to go out there, pitch, because it will not only just polish your pitch, it will give you the visibility that you need to get across investors.
that's a good point. Actually, it's quite often overlooked in terms of that repetition of doing the pitch. The more you do it, the more, like you say, polished you get. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you can each time is a refinement and improvement and just gets better and better. And quite often people will give up too early with stuff like that.
True.
Very good. So in terms of team size, then, over the years, what's the team look like now? How big's
We so we are still a very small team.
Mhm.
We are about five altogether.
Yep.
But the good thing is that we have kind of covered all the important positions.
Yep.
We tend to get things subcontracted a lot. So what we have kept in house is our expertise in ultrasound and ultrasonics. So anything to do with ultrasonics we do in house, and anything else we tend to subcontract to design consultancies, etc.
So a team of five, it's really important then, by the sounds of it, that you've got all the bases covered. In which case, then having the right people alongside you and around you is going to be quite crucial. What sort of things did you
Absolutely.
What sort of things did you do to find the right people, but also make sure that they're aligned to what you're doing?
So we have been pretty lucky with that because my co-founder and CEO of the company, Ian Kirk, he has been in the medical devices industry for quite some time. And again, I think it all goes down to the networking point that I raised earlier. That the more you network, the more good people you know. And interestingly, I mean, he already knew the right people, and all we had to do was just approach them and see if they were able
Okay.
to join us. And obviously, you have to have a good technology that you're developing as well
Yeah.
for people to be interested in. So we were pretty lucky from that point of view that we already had a good network that we could utilize. We have hired some people as well, some engineers over the past few years. Again, it has been our networking came to rescue us there as well. I have very good links with academic institutions and University in Dundee and Glasgow.
Okay.
Our one of our recent engineers actually was we hired from University of Glasgow, and I knew the guy already actually, so it was a good find.
So is that sort of surrounding yourself in that community, expanding your network and creating that environment of people around you has been really crucial for
Absolutely,
your success and your
uh,
continued growth.
especially for a startup, you have to.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because there is a lot of support out there. Like you say, with the funding, there are a lot of options out there, but quite often people don't sort of explore them because they kind of think people aren't going to be interested. But by the sounds of it, getting out there and talking about what you're doing and connecting with people has been
Yeah, I think one thing which I always say is, I mean, I used to be a very introvert sort
okay.
of a person growing up, but when I was doing my PhD and then I was kind of encouraged, and I would certainly thank my PhD supervisor for his role in pushing me over this cliff. Uh, and that helped me a great deal actually, because I actually had to come out of my comfort zone and start talking to people. And now I don't shy away. If I have to talk, I'll talk. I mean, I was approached by you guys to talk, and I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Happy to do
Why
so.
not? Yeah,
Absolutely. You
talk. I
never,
mean, in doing so, I'll be networking essentially. So
well, you
why
never
not?
know where the next conversation might take you, do you?
Exactly,
If you
exactly.
don't have
I
the
was
conversation, it will take you nowhere.
I had another opportunity just about a couple of weeks ago. It was a funding matrix panel discussion,
Okay.
and I was invited, and apparently we were the only company invited. The rest were
Okay.
just senior investors in the panel. But I was like, okay, let's do it. It's an experience afterwards. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, going back that 8 years again, so you've had that sort of, that period of doing what you're doing. Would you do anything differently? And if you would do anything differently, what sort of things would you do?
I would actually. I mean, I won't say that we made a mistake by keeping the headcount what is it just now, but surely I would have grown our business a little more.
Okay.
So we did go and work with some design consultancies. Some of the experiences have been good, some not so good, and you would know that design consultancies are normally expensive. In the hindsight, I think actually perhaps if we had hired maybe a couple more people, we wouldn't have
Okay.
spent that much that we have spent on the consultancy, and we would have been perhaps a bit more productive, I suppose, if we had grown the
Okay.
expertise within the team.
And hindsight is a wonderful thing because it's easy to look back, isn't it? But I guess
I know.
what we're sort of saying there is that allocation of funds and focus in terms of making sure that it's the right area to focus on.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, actually, I mean, I don't think we made a mistake because so I'm just talking specifically about this particular project. We had received a large amount of grant funding, but we had only a limited time to spend the money.
Gotcha.
And I mean, we could have gone to hire people, um, but then, as you know, when hiring can be difficult, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
But we decided to go with a design consultancy, which obviously these people had lots of experience in developing the kind of devices that we were trying to develop. And so they were straight away, they were on it. And they did manage to deliver what we wanted to get out of the grant funded project in the time frame. I mean, had we chosen to go and employ people, we may not have got to the end of it in
Okay.
time.
So it paid off. Paid off. In terms of the future, then, so you've got some progress and you've got different opportunities ahead of you. What are the future? How do you envisage the future of the business? Where are you taking it?
So as you've rightly pointed out in the beginning, we have lots of applications. We have, and as I mentioned as well, actually, so we have one device that's been CE marked, ready to go to the market, which we
Yeah.
are hoping to start selling next year. Then there are applications that we don't think we will be able to sell. For example, the tattooing. So we obviously we were able to license.
Yeah.
And the drug delivery side of things, it's kind of in between. We can sell this technology, this product, this injection device, but we also need a drug as well
Okay.
that needs to be injected through this device. So I think both options are open here, where we can either sell it or we can license it. So I guess the the uh, the plan is simple. We sell what we can sell, we license what we can license, and keep
Yep,
innovating, really.
makes sense. Keep the plan as simple as possible. Make it easy to execute.
Exactly, and keep innovating. That's the main thing, because we know we do have this very nice spreadsheet set up where we explore other applications that we can apply our technology to,
Yeah,
and we already have a list. So as we start selling and licensing technology, we can then move on to the next application.
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So there's future growth there. And what about yourself as an entrepreneur then? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you getting up and doing what you're doing?
I think that the first thing is that it's my PhD.
Yeah,
That's the main thing. That I mean, I know a lot of people who were doing PhD with me. They're doing other things in their lives now, and perhaps I think I'm the only one who is still kind of chasing this dream and taking this forward. So I mean, this is definitely one of the things that motivates me. That I'm actually working on my PhD.
yeah.
It's kind of my comfort zone, because it's my thing that I developed during my PhD. And then obviously the most important thing is that I'm in this medical sector. I mean, trying
Okay.
to make things better for patients, clinicians, and healthcare providers alike.
Well, it certainly sounds like you're turning the dream of the, the sort of the building something off your PhD into a set of tangible goals and objectives that you're now delivering through actionable plans and strategies.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're doing a great job by the sounds of it. So in
Thank
terms
you.
of, where our listeners can go to find out a little bit more about where you're up to with the journey and what you're doing, where can our listeners go to find out a bit more about you?
We have recently upgraded our website. So it's www.activeneedle.com. We do regularly update it, so that's the latest thing. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. That's the most active social media platform that we use, and we
Okay,
regularly post updates out there. So yes, LinkedIn and our website.
fantastic. Mohammed, again, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Pleasure.
Glad to be part of it.